again, you can kind of recognize it by the stringiness, although, you know, if this one was cut in half and this one was laying next to it, we might not quite know which is which, right? If I use any of these on the practical exam, I'll give you some kind of hint. So you're not completely blind. Right? And I realize it's hard to tell. So that's brisket.
What would be the hint?
What?
From the side?
Oh, the hint? Oh, I might say a front quarter cut. I might even tell you it's from the wholesale brisket. That'd be a dead ringer then. You should know that, right? Because it's the only cut from brisket. And it's called brisket. So that's pretty easy. I'm not sure if I'd be that generous.
Yeah, I like it.
Or I might say it's Pectoralis profundi. What's the common name for the retail cut? Brisket. Okay? Something like that. Okay, here's rib cuts. And so basically we've made all the rib into these ribeye steaks, which are bones. If they had the bones on them yet, they would be called rib steaks, not ribeye steaks. So ribeye steak implies boneless. And the muscle here is the longissimus dorsi. That's the main muscle in all of these. A little bit of the spinalis too, but that's not one you need to know.
We need to know the cuts or the muscles.
Both. You need to know the name of the retail cut, as well as the main muscle in it. So in this case, longissimus dorsi. Okay, here's chuck. So the chuck makes a lot of volume, a lot of weight. Two different cuts, arm roasts. What's the difference between a roast and a steak? Any idea?
Should be
Bone?
Size, yes. We could turn this into steak by just cutting it one more time down through here. So the thickness of the cut is really the main difference. And so anything that's kind of like 2 inches or more, we usually consider that's a roast. And if it's a steak, it's going to be an inch or something like that. These are all cut at about an inch. Okay. So we have arm roast, very desirable roast from the chuck, triceps brachii muscle, and then pectoralis profundi along the inner edge. Actually, I think it's much bigger here on this side. Triceps, pectoralis. No. This is triceps brachii, or the clod.
Okay.
The common name is the clod. Flat irons over here, these. And then pectoralis. Okay, and the rest of these are chuck roasts. Usually now, if you go to the grocery store, these are all completely boneless. You won't see blade bones in them at all. And it makes it very difficult to identify muscles. But when the blade bone is here, we can identify the muscles, at least on some of the cuts, pretty easily. And I'm trying to find one here that looks the best. You know, that one's got supraspinatus there and here. Okay, but I'm trying to find an infraspinatus. This might be, there should be one that looks better than that.
See, it's hard.
Well, it is, exactly. That's why you gotta do it. There are no good examples here of infraspinatus in any of these, unfortunately. This is the best one. Infraspinatus is kind of rounded and has that big streak of connective tissue inside. Okay, and that's not even a very good example. There's always one roast that shows it really well. This is it right here. Well, yeah, this is probably better than that. But it's still not very good. I'm sorry, I don't have a good example. But when I do this cut for the exam, I usually use lamb report, so then you can see everything. It's all in one piece. The whole blade bone's there. It's much more easy to identify individual muscles. The infraspinatus it's always kind of oval shaped or ellipsoid with a streak of connective tissue in the middle. That's the tip off. So you can see the connective tissue streak right here, very nice. Infraspinatus. Supraspinatus. So this is a little bit of infraspinatus and supraspinatus on top of that 7-bone blade roast that I showed you earlier. That's the same spot. The other muscle in chuck blade roast is serratus ventralis. And so that's kind of one of those stringy ones again. It's here, it's there, it's right here. There's a piece, there's some right there.
What's the name, sir?
Serratus ventralis. This is serratus right here. So it's always on the medial side of the scapula. And you can tell this is the outer side because that was the outside of the cartilage. Okay. This was the medial side because there's a piece of backbone. And so the serratus is always on the medial side of the scapula and always has sort of a stringy appearance. Again, in lamb or pork cuts, it's much easier to identify because the whole thing is there. So that's chuck. So really there's 4 main muscles: triceps, serratus, supraspinatus, and infraspinatus that come from the chuck cut. Okay, then we have short loin here. 2 kinds of steaks: T-bones, porterhouse. Porterhouse have bigger tenderloin. Only 2 muscles, well, 3 really, but 2 that are most important are longissimus dorsi and psoas major. Longissimus dorsi is the loin muscle or the top loin muscle. If this was a boneless cut, we would call that a New York strip steak in the U.S. And then when you get into some of these later porterhouses, you start to get some gluteus medius overlaying the top of the LB. So that actually happens first right here. Well, no, this one's out of order. This one's supposed to be way down here. So there's a little bit of gluteus starting. It's a little bigger on this side. Then we went to this one, and it's quite a bit bigger on that side.
This is
And then
porterhouse.
these are porterhouse. These 2 rows are porterhouse with psoas, longissimus, and gluteus. But not all porterhouse have the gluteus though. These 4 do not. Well, this one has a little bit. These 3 do. Okay. Flank steak from the flank. Again, that's one that requires a hint. And then here's sirloin. And so we have a tenderloin steak. These again are typically difficult to identify. We had a tenderloin steak and an eye of round steak. They're not terribly different looking. So they would have some kind of hint. So tenderloin and then top sirloin with the gluteus muscle and sometimes a little biceps. But the gluteus muscle, that's the one you really need to know. Gluteus medius is the main muscle. And we call it top sirloin in the U.S. So that's sirloin. Well, not this, this is flank. These are sirloin. And then the rest of this is from the round. So we have the sirloin tip. Don't let that confuse you. Sirloin tip is not from the sirloin, it's from the round. Okay, and it's the quadriceps muscle. It's the entire quadriceps muscle. And then we have
From where?
from the round. So the wholesale cut is round. And then we have top round, which is semimembranosus. And we have the whole bottom round, which is quadriceps femoris and semitendinosus. If we separate them, we have eye of round and bottom round. So that's a little confusing because bottom round might be the whole thing or just the biceps. And so here's steaks that we would cut: top round steak, top round roast, top round steak.